Schlahayim, Naganim, Marta, Clifford, Tillicum, Chinook, Cree, Umpqua, and Grand Ronde. Welcome to Alton Baker Park, or the Willamette Natural Area. Welcome to Kalapuya, Illinois. Kalapuya, Illinois is the traditional indigenous homeland of the Kalapuya people. Following treaties between 1851 and 1855, Kalapuya people were dispossessed of their indigenous homeland by the United States government and forcibly removed to coast reservations in western Oregon. Today, Kalapuya descendants are primary citizens of the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde and the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians. And they continue to make important contributions to their communities and Oregon and throughout the whole world. In following the Indigenous protocol of acknowledging the original people of the land we occupy, we also extend our respect to the 9 federally recognized Indigenous nations of Oregon: the Burns Paiute Tribe, the Confederated Tribes of the Coos, Lower Umpqua, and Siuslaw Indians, the Confederated Tribes of Grand Ronde, the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians, the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs, the Coquille Indian Tribe, the Cow Creek Band of Umpqua Tribe of Indians, and the Klamath Tribes. We express our respect to the many more tribes who have ancestral connections to this territory, as well as to all the other displaced Indigenous people who call Oregon home. Hayimasa. In the early 2000s, tribal elder Esther Stutzman stated, "There are no Kalapuya place names anywhere in the state of Oregon, and if they are, they're spelt incorrectly." Their language went extinct in 1954, and one of the local newspapers said the whole tribe of Kalapuya people were also extinct. When one of the members of the Citizens Planning Committee of the Alton Baker Park in Eugene, Oregon, heard Esther Stutzman speak, they formed an alliance, and together they were able to get the Kalapuya talking stones established in the park. Made from basalt stones from one of the local quarries that is in Kalapuya traditional homeland. In 2003 is when they installed the first 11 talking stones. And with the wisdom and the guidance from Esther and other Kalapuya tribal members, they were also able, in 2013, when they built the new bridge over the Willamette River, to dedicate that bridge to the Kalapuya people. And they installed 4 more stones into the park here in Eugene, Oregon. Now, let's go for a walk and find the Kalapuya talking stones and see what they have to say. The ones we're going to go to here are Ha-Yaba, Camasfield. Then we'll go to Da-Ha-Yaba. It is near Camasfield. Then we'll go to Ililu, which is joyful. Then we'll go to Kamafima. And those 4 could be the group that we do here. Then when we drive down the road a ways, and we'll go to Lakmi, Hadwa, Lakmi near a fish trap, Hadwa in a wooded area, Gani, trail through the woods, Kanaan, going across place, and Dukuba, powerful place. So I think what I should do also, when we get to this one, the very first one we're going to talk about, I would really feel comfortable telling them that I am pronouncing these the best way I know how. If they're incorrect in the Kalapuya language, I don't know that because I've never heard them spoke by a Kalapuya person. So something along that line.
And so how did you become an expert on this. How did you start giving tours?
Well, what I did first was I just started coming down here because when I was growing up, well, probably not necessarily growing up, but when I was in high school, they built this bike path. And then I moved away for a while. And then when I came home, I came back down here to walk along the river. And look, there's all these talking stones. Where did they come from? So I started doing research. And I really like to go and sit by Ililu and the bench there and just read or write and think. But I was fascinated with them, and nobody knew about them. Nobody was talking about them. And then when my daughter Jennifer started teaching at the University of Oregon, I told her we need to take the students on a tour of the Kalapuya talking stones. And when I was in the Native Theater class with Teresa May, that's the first tour we did, was for the Native Theater class at University of Oregon, to do some place-based learning so they can understand how important the land is to people and how important language is, because if we don't save the language, I just don't see how we can save the people. And so that's why I started doing what I do, because it was so important to me to make sure that people know about the Kalapuya people and that they are on Kalapuya Ilahi, and to honor them by going, and when they are down in the park, don't just ignore these. Stop and see what they have to say. And here is the first of our talking stones. Hayaba, camas field. So picture this, a whole field of blue, nothing but camas, waiting for you to come along with your digging stick. Instead, it looks like we have a bunch of weeds, but picture it. Picture it as you're coming here to dig your camas to last you for the winter. Okay, so here is our next stone, D. Hayaba. Remember the last one was Hayaba, camas field. So you add the D to the front of it, near a camas field. D. Hayaba. So between here and that other stone is probably maybe about a half a mile. So they put this stone near where the field of camas was. You also noticed in the background there's two giant oak trees. They would have also supplied food for the Kalapuya people. The acorns and the camas were two of the traditional foods for the Kalapuya people. And here they are right together. When I was young, we used to come down here by the river and play all the time. There was no bike path. There was just a river and woods. And we would come down here and stay all day long. And then as I got older and I was in high school, they started building a bike path. They built a bike path from Springfield to Eugene, and then a park around it, Alton Baker Park. It was wonderful, especially if you had a really good bike. You could get on your bike at our house. You could ride it over to Eugene to the Saturday market. We're talking this was in the late 60s, early 70s. I don't remember the exact date they built the bike path, but I do know that it was wonderful for all the people that's the only transportation they had. I don't think they really spent that much time in the park.
You didn't spend that much time in the park?
No, I didn't have a bicycle. My sister Dell did. She used to ride her bike over to Eugene all the time. She liked going to the Saturday market. I did not. I liked to walk. So I would just walk along the river rather than ride my bike. I think with that too. Here I am sitting on the bench in the shade by my favorite stone. You can see it in the background. We'll get a closer look soon. It's Illaloo, joyful. What a wonderful word. I like to come down here and sit on this bench, read a book, or write a poem, or just start writing a story or something. It's just a comforting place. But it's also can be a busy place. It's a crossroads. It's a crossroads from the bridge up there, coming from the University of Oregon, and the other way is coming from Eugene. It can be busy, but it's also a very quiet, peaceful place. One of my favorite places in the whole Willamette Park. Here we are by the big stone that tells you to be joyful. So there you are. The stone's talking to you. Illaloo, be joyful. What a wonderful message. As you drive by it or you walk by it, read it and listen to it. It is telling you what its message is. The stones talk to us, the trees can talk to us, everything can talk to us. Just like. Here's our next stone. It's called Kalapuya. It was the name of one of the chiefs of the Kalapuya, but it also means ferns on the ground. If you notice, there are ferns all around the stone. However, they weren't always here. Some of the wonderful people on the Citizens Planning Committee from Eugene, Oregon, planted these to show the importance of having the ferns on the ground next to the stone. It's one of the biggest stones. Illaloo is also bigger than this, but wow, what a beautiful stone. I think that one thing I would like to see, if you're watching the tour of the Kalapuya Talking Stones, think about doing this in your area. Find your local indigenous language. Get some of the important words. See who you can work with to put them on stones. Put them in your park. What a way to keep our people alive, by keeping their language alive. The Citizens Planning Committee worked with Esther Stutzman to form the Willamette Natural Area of Altenbaker Park, and she was a consultant through the whole thing for the Talking Stones. The stones came to be because Esther had a vision of reviving the Kalapuya language, and the people of the Citizens Planning Committee of Eugene, Oregon, decided to help her make this vision come true. And that's why we have the Kalapuya Talking Stones down here in our park. Lock Me, near a fish trap, is real close to the river, so that tells me she chose that spot because that would be a good place to put a fish trap out in the water. So Lock Me, near a fish trap. And then you go down, and then there's Kana, going across place, because the water is smoother there. So it would be a place where you could cross the river because there's not very many rapids. And then Gani is Trail Through the Woods, and it is right along the river, but right next to the trail that you're following to get, and it goes along the river and through the woods. So that Gani is Trail Through the Woods. And then Dukuba, powerful place. It's a great big stone, and it's right on the corner. It's easy to miss because it often is covered with a lot of moss, and it's hard to read where it says powerful place, but there must have been a reason that she wanted that stone right there. It's a corner where you turn to go back towards the parking lot. And right before you get to the parking lot is Hadwa, in a wooded area because there's so many trees there. Plus, there's a lot of really tall trees where the eagles and blue herons used to nest, real close to that stone. So those are the 4 that are on the Springfield side in the East Gate Woodlands. Esther Stutzman, who we spoke of before, picked each spot where these stones were put. And each one was blessed, and each one she chose a reason for putting those in that spot. In other words, like I said, Ghana says going across place. She put that there because the river is slower there and there's not as many rapids. So it looks like a place where you could go across in your canoe. And that's what I'm referring to, is that each one of these had a reason for being where they are. One of the things that I've wanted to do, of course, we're kind of limited now with the virus. I want to be able to go into the local schools and approach them about taking the students on tours, to bring in the young people to see this and to know that this was a lost language. And because of these talking stones, Esther Stutzman and her family have revived the Kalapuya language. They are working on making a dictionary, and they're adding words to it all the time. And the more that we tell people about these stones, the more people go look at them. I think that let the stones talk. Let the stones tell their story. And once they start stopping and looking at it and noticing that they're there, then the Kalapuya people will not be forgotten. I just think it's so important. If you know about the talking stones, tell somebody about it. That's what I ask the students to do, is to do not just keep this knowledge to yourself. Tell somebody what you learned today.